Hey, what's happening, guys? So the most anticipated movie of the winter, if not the year, is finally here. I watched it last night, processed all my thoughts, so let's talk about Rogue One, a Star Wars story with no spoilers.
If you continue to fight,
Rogue One is the first of the Star Wars anthology films. It takes place before the events of Episode 4, A New Hope, and it follows the story of a small group of rebels who are sent out to steal the plans for the Death Star. This cast is led by Felicity Jones and Diego Luna, and it's directed by Gareth Edwards. Now, this is Disney's second venture with their multi-billion-dollar franchise, and I was extremely curious about how this film would turn out. The Force Awakens was a very entertaining film, but they clearly played it safe, delivered tons of fan service, endless amounts of nostalgia, and they provided a story that really didn't stray far from the template A New Hope followed. This new film would not revolve around the Skywalkers, it would introduce new characters, new story angles to the Star Wars universe, and I was intrigued by how the tone would play out. Would this be a true Star Wars feeling movie, or would it have that Disney glossing on it? After watching, I was happy to see this one was a true Star Wars film. It certainly stood on its own legs, and it told a story that was true to the universe of the franchise. I really enjoyed this film. It felt different, but you could always sense the connections to the other films in tone, but it was still able to maintain its own identity as a more violent and action-packed war film, which in my opinion was able to solidify itself as a true anthology film in the series, fitting into a larger story and not just coming across like a simple spin-off. And visually, I thought this film was stunning. The CG, the action set pieces, the battle sequences, all the settings and landscapes, they were all absolutely amazing. The action sequences were spectacular, both up in the air with massive scale battles and on the ground with gritty, violent sequences. The beach battle we have all seen in the trailers was all I wanted it to be, and Gareth Edwards really pulls the audience into the chaos of these moments with many ground level angles that really show the massive size of these AT-ATs and the sheer number of soldiers coming at them. I thought the camera work throughout, as well as the cinematography in this film, were just excellent. And I thought the cast performances were solid all around, but there was a lack of substance in the characters in this story to me. I really enjoyed The Force Awakens. It was a fun film, delivered lots of nostalgia, but it was really the characters that made it shine. Rey, Finn, and Kylo Ren were all great characters that you could really invest your interest in. You could understand their motivations, and it naturally just delivered more impact. But while the performances were very good in this movie, there were none of those similar standout characters. Other than Jyn Erso and to some extent Cassian Andor, the other characters were not given really much at all in the way of development, so I really never got to know them, and I couldn't really invest in their well-being in the story. You could almost say the characters in this movie were at times there simply for their additions to the overall film and not really the story itself. For example, Donnie as Chirrut Îmwe was in this movie to deliver some awesome martial arts themed sequences, which were absolutely great. When Jiang as Baze Malbus was there for comic relief with Donnie Yen's character, yet I never really got to know anything about them or their friendship. Diego Luna as Cassian Andor did get some minor backdrop, but even he kind of felt like he was virtually there to serve as a male co-star for Felicity Jones. I don't know, I guess I was excited to see new characters in this franchise, and I was just kind of let down by them out of maybe elevated expectations. Ben Mendelsohn was also great in his performance as Orson Krennic, but he was not able to give this film a true villain, but it was not due to his performance. It's just that when you have a villain like Darth Vader in the wings and you know he is there, no one would be able to give this film a more satisfying villain in his place. I wanted much more Darth Vader in this movie, and I was honestly surprised by his lack of screen time, but it's just been one of those years. We had to sit through a 2.5-hour film to watch Batman and Superman fight for a few minutes. We watched endless promos for a new Joker only to see he was nothing more than a small subplot, and now we have a film that could have done so much with a great villain only to deliver a tease of what could have been. But I will give this movie credit. It did what it needed to do to tell a missing piece of this long saga, and it delivered a true feel of its own. The visual quality was top of the line, and it entertained me from start to finish. In my opinion, it delivers the best action of any of the films in the franchise, but at the same time, some of the weakest characters. However, the overall package in this one definitely puts it up there past the prequels, and it really solidifies itself as one of the better films in the franchise. And overall, I'm going to give Rogue One, a Star Wars story, a solid B+. I really did enjoy it, but I was let down by certain things it lacked. I can overlook the recycled musical score, some of the thin characters, the preachy dialogue for what the overall story delivers, but the lack of Darth Vader was an annoyance to me. They should have not even had him in the promo material, kept him a secret so that once he was included into this film, audiences would have lost their damn minds. But in the end, we just get a lot of Orson Krennic as a villain when we know there's a true antagonist watching that is really really in control. And those are my spoiler-free thoughts on Rogue One, guys. I definitely recommend checking it out. It was very entertaining. I plan on seeing it again this weekend. Should be putting out a spoiler review shortly after. So what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this review and want to see more. As always, I'm Anthony. This is a SilverScreen analysis, and I'll see you guys at the movies.